The video is titled Raid Racing Just Changed Forever, and I know exactly what this video is going to talk about, and I cannot wait to jump into it because Destiny Rising has just launched their first ever world's first raid race, and it was immaculate. It was so much better than any Destiny 2 raid race ever, and we should start talking about this because Bungie needs to do better. We can see just how much better these raid races can be when it's developed by other companies. So at least that's what I'm hoping this video is talking about. We'll find out right now.
Destiny Rising has just created a pretty big problem for Bungie, a problem that they can't fix right now, and a problem that is likely going to get a whole lot worse in just a few days' time. Just days ago on September 19th, lots of you might not be aware, but NetEase held its inaugural world's first race in Destiny Rising. Now, this wasn't technically a full-fledged raid race, as the normal version of the Eclipse raid had been available since launch, and therefore this race was akin to a prestige mode or a hard mode raid race, like we've seen in Destiny before with raids such as Wrath of the Machine, Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, Leviathan, and more. Don't get it twisted though, this wasn't some kind of knockoff Mickey Mouse raid race, and NetEase really pulled out all the stops to make this a proper, memorable experience for its player base. And in doing so, they showcased a few things that are only going to cause more problems for Bungie moving forward.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
If you're looking to grow your channel, take the guessing out of YouTube, or move games, I'm pleased to announce myself and my YouTube partner Stonewall are launching a service to work directly with you and give personalized advice to help you and your channel best. If you're interested or want to learn more, please email this email on screen or the email in the link in the description. Thank you very much. Gauntlet Onslaught Eclipse had a contest modifier, buffed up enemies, and altered mechanics to add further depth on top of the normal mode raid. Prior to the raid, they also laid out strict rules, such as requiring that all encounters must be completed with the same 6 players, as well as detailing a lengthy list of banned and disabled items to ensure competitive integrity. Despite this,
and to be fair, they actually banned a ton of the pay to win mechanics that exist because it's like a gotcha game. So anyone that like was trying to be a whale in the game and spend a ton of money on their account to be like ridiculously powerful, it didn't give them an advantage in actually clearing the raid for like world's first or anything like that, which I think was a really good thing for Destiny Rising to do. And it was kind of a show of solidarity that, you know, even though they are a gotcha game and it's NetEase, you know, they're not necessarily trying to continue down a path of like really vicious and manipulative monetization strategies.
The raid entry requirements weren't overly strict and was relatively easy and welcoming for new players, with only some mild power leveling and story progression required. However, some of the most impressive elements of Eclipse would be the rewards and altered format of a world's first race itself. Raid belts have been a staple of the Destiny franchise since Last Wish, and NetEase decided that they wanted to present their own twist on things by announcing the first fire team to complete the raid would be granted the golden championship style ring.
Now the ring is very cool, I will say, but is a belt better than a ring? I mean, the ring looks really cool, but I'm thinking a belt is better. Like if I got to choose my trophy for winning a world's first, you know, I'm choosing the belt. I'm choosing the belt for sure. But maybe you're more of a ring person. Maybe you want to rock the ring. I understand, you know, if you and when you win the NBA finals, you win a ring, right? You win a championship ring. If you win the UFC championship, they give you a belt. You got ring or you got belt. I'm team belt. I'm team belt.
Only looks awesome, but supposedly are worth up to $500 too. A clever innovation, especially after frustrations arose from those who did not like Bungie's use of the world's first belt reissue for the epic raid. While this is no real evolution or innovation on the Destiny formula, it would be the additional incentives that NetEase would offer that would become a real eye-opener for the diehard Destiny 2 fans. Teams who placed in the top 5 for the initial world's first race would each receive a commemorative pin to mark the
See, that's nice. See, now they've upped it, so you've never gotten anything for being world's second before. You were just world's first loser, right? And obviously, Data would appreciate getting something for being world second, especially considering all the times he got world second, right? I think he might have the most world seconds of anyone. So now that you actually get something for not just being first, but you also get something for being for the top 5 teams, this was really nice. This is something I've been a big fan of. This is something that I've encouraged Bungie to do for a very long time now, because all or nothing, world's first or just nothing, it seems a bit too much, especially because it's really, really hard to get a world's first. And you kind of want something, a token to show for all your hard work if you do finish in the top 5.
Their achievement. And this is a really
The problem with Destiny 2, though, I would say, is that if Bungie retroactively added something for finishing top 5, then they would have to go back and give all of the previous teams something, I guess, as well. So maybe that's the reason why, is because Bungie actually didn't implement these raid belts until I think it was like Last Wish that they started giving them. And so at that point, they had to retroactively go back and give raid belts to all the previous teams that had ever gotten a World's First. And so, but it would be nice if they, at some point in time, they maybe with the launch of Edge of Fate, you know, we're in a whole new saga now. They said from here on, we're now giving an award for people that get top 5 or even top 10.
nice touch from NetEase. In the world of raid racing, we know how close things can come and how tight these races can finish, with it often feeling somewhat unfair that one team takes all of the glory, with runners-up left with nothing but disappointment.
I can't believe it! Can't believe it!
The world's first that never was, when he thought he got world's first, but it was second.
Oh my god! Oh my god! My whole body.
So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm pretty sure someone has already beat.
Oof.
While these races should certainly celebrate the triumphant fire teams, additional incentives for those who finish in the podium spots certainly keep the race hype going beyond the first completion. And I'm sure this is something Bungie could take notes for their own PvE endgame events. However, it would be the next change that truly stunned me and the larger Destiny community as a whole. NetEase stated prior to the race start that it would technically be declared over once the first 5 teams had passed through, and instead they announced a new competition would commence once this happened.
Yeah, not only did they announce a new competition would happen, but it should also be said that there was cash prizes given to the first 10 teams. So the team that won first, he didn't mention this, but because you had to sign up for it inside their Discord. But if you signed up for it, like if you're actually going to compete and had a serious team, if you signed up for it, your team, the team that got world's first would get $100 per each fire team member. So $600 plus the ring, plus the medal. So getting world's first gives you 3 prizes, a ring, a medal, and $100 cash. And then from there, it tiered down all the way down to 10th place, which they literally only gave each person $15, which isn't a whole lot. Let's be real. $15 literally buys you 5 pulls in the game. So not going to do very much for you, but it's better than nothing, right? You get world's 10th and you at least get a cash prize. I would say that's not too bad. On top of that, though, as soon as the raid race was over, it immediately launched into a speedrunners race. And so the time that you clocked in effectively put you on the leaderboards. And now you needed to go in and repeat each encounter of the 3 encounters and get a faster time, faster and faster and faster. And you might think, well, why should I care about a speed run competition? What is the point in that? If you finished in the top 30, you got a special ghost in game, and you'd get an animated emblem. I think if you finish in the top 100, so you get an animated raid emblem that showed that you finished in the top 100 for the speedrun race. And it would also show the rank at which you finished. So say you finished like 67th place, it would say that on your emblem, which is something that has been requested from Bungie for years. I've been saying this for so long that the placement you get in the raid should be printed on the emblem that you get as like a timestamp. Kind of like the same way they do with like crafting weapons. When you craft a weapon, it like gives you an exact timestamp of the day you crafted that weapon. And it has like the kills on it as well, a bunch of information. They could easily just add that to the contest mode emblems, and a lot of people would really appreciate that quality of life feature.
New competition would be a 3-day long speedrun event in which teams could battle it out for their share of yet more incredible rewards and incentives. With once again strict rules applied, teams had 3 days to complete eclipse as fast as possible, and the fastest 100 teams would be rewarded with a special animated emblem, and those who had excelled even further to a top 30 time would receive the animated emblem alongside with an exotic ghost shell. There are really so many reasons why this is such incredible work from NetEase, and while I don't want to reignite the Bungie versus speedrunner fiery debate too much, this without a doubt creates a bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to Destiny 2. Hard mode and prestige raid races have always suffered a curse of simply being too quick and lacking depth. As I discussed in my 7-hour raid history video, the trend of prestige and hard mode raid races essentially became speedruns over mechanical discovery events, and it's largely a factor in why Bungie killed them off prior to the release of Last Wish. It's incredible then that NetEase seemed to notice this failing in the hard mode formula and found an incredible fun way to solve it in Destiny Rising. Yet it's perhaps even more incredible that Bungie didn't stumble onto this idea first, even with a 10-year head start. When it comes to the raid and the race itself, this is where things start to get very interesting to analyze and where further deeper issues for Bungie possibly start to arise. It's important to remember that Destiny Rising is a mobile game. Although pretty much all the gameplay in this video has been from a PC emulator, it's a game fundamentally built to be powered by mobile devices. Therefore, despite how Apple will continue to advertise their most powerful iPhone ever year after year, the fact of the matter is that Destiny Rising simply does not have the ceiling of complexity to achieve things akin to Salvation's Edge or Last Wish in Destiny 2. So how has the Eclipse raid caused problems for Bungie on a gameplay front? Well, first, it's important to establish how, if at all, the mechanics were similar to anything seen in Destiny 2. The first encounter's mechanics operate around a bridge building mechanic, with a keycard mechanic forcing only 2 players to cross at the start. The players who cross will then encounter vandals wielding scorch cannons. Killing and grabbing these cannons will allow players to destroy breakers that progress the encounter, and after repetitions, players will find their way to the next encounter where things upped in complexity. Whereas the first encounter had more dungeon-style mechanics, the Menace Above second encounter would introduce an, albeit simple, more raid-like puzzle. A large central monitor displayed the symbol combination players would need to recreate by activating 2 smaller monitors which spawned in 2 batteries. These would be picked up by 2 teammates who used them to hold back the electrical gates, allowing everyone to safely pass through to the next area. In this next area, players would enter 2 portals in which one of them would need to enter each, battle a servitor, and then complete another puzzle, which had been made more complex in this hard mode variant with a lengthened sequence that required players to be quick or face a death. The 4 players left outside would have their own tasks, similar to those inside, and once all players had completed their own objectives, players would be teleported and evenly split into teams to progress into a new phase of the encounter. This would have players use scorch cannons to destroy objectives, as a way to gain batteries needed for the encounters. But accuracy was important, as players would have only 4 shots to do this. One teammate picked up the battery and repeated the earlier mechanic, and as they moved along, the corridor's floating eyes appeared, and these had to be destroyed quickly or they would trap and kill the players. The corridor would then lead to a fight with an explosive Shinka enemy that
Simply put, the mechanics are actually pretty intricate, especially in the second encounter. It was a good encounter. Like the raid mechanics and the puzzle solving skills and the amount of teamwork and coordination was actually pretty high, especially considering for a mobile game.
Players would need to kill to progress, where the teams could then place their batteries for another round of portal and monitor mayhem, with the main difference for this phase being the fact that the monitors spawn further apart, requiring tighter coordination. For World's First Raiders, some confusion was felt at this stage, with many feeling like the correct code inputs were still resulting in fatal responses that players just couldn't understand, with many unsure whether this was something bugging out or just not fully understood.
Oh, he died.
You did not enter the passcode in the correct order.
Oh, that's a face of no, man.
No.
I don't understand why that is killing me.
Why it's killing you.
Oh no, man. That's a wipe.
Everyone else is able to enter them twice in a row, and I just can't for some reason.
However, after around 45 minutes, some teams finally found their way through the encounter and onto Isakis's Tabernacle. No, I'm not joking. That's the encounter name. Proceedings would start with all players being dropped into the arena and immediately required to destroy 2 tanky Shinka enemies, with their deaths resulting in an arrival of a spider tank boss who weirdly reminded me of the much beloved Axis fight in
There
Wrath
is Axis energy from this guy. I forgot about that.
of the Machine, even if it's not actually that similar. Solar servitors would appear alongside scorch cannons, and players would once again need to destroy blue objects with these cannons. Once all objects had been destroyed, a close quarters fight with 2 Shinka enemies would meet some teams before the portal mechanics once again returned. Those inside the teleporter would face massive servitors, and when these were killed, the boss's weak points would be revealed and called out to the other players. While the portal players were Portaling, the 4 players on the outside would be destroying waves of floating eyes that would trap and kill if ignored, with the boss firing missiles at you after this, which players would obviously need to dodge. Shooting the wrong weak spots would wipe the team, but if the right ones had been destroyed, the boss would become vulnerable and damageable. With the world's first team 2 phasing this fight an hour after the launch, this made this a longer race than Prestige Eater of Worlds and Spire of Stars. Although there was some brief confusion over the world's first winner.
Guys, this is world's first watch.
Wait, so we have. Wait, they're saying we have.
Guys, kill their right
We
side.
have a winner?
Who?
With there being 2 competitions, a race and a speed run, the game displayed 2 times on screen. A local time.
This was very confusing. So when you cleared it, if you cleared it slightly faster, then it said you were first, but you weren't world's first. You were just first in the speedrun race that immediately started after the world's first race ended.
And a stopwatch time. The stopwatch time added the times of each successful encounter completion and disregarded wipes, whereas the local time displayed the time in which the raid had been completed in the team's unique time zone, with 4 separate server leaderboards being tracked. I know, it's a little confusing. The global world's first winner would eventually be revealed to come from the EMEA servers, with Coroni, Side, Lobster, Kyriel, El Femboy, yes, that's their name, and Danilda being the 6 players to etch their name into Destiny Rising history. And when interviewed, they had a very fun fact about their team.
Did you guys have a team name?
No.
It's time to make
It's time to make a team name. It's time to make a team name.
name.
Where would you say your Destiny 2 experience carried the weight in terms of the contest for this one? Because obviously you guys came in first on this one. I don't know if you felt like you practiced for it or anything, but where did that Destiny 2 experience really help in the Destiny Rising side?
I guess in teamwork, because we played with these guys in Destiny 2, so we had good teamwork. And mechanics, because in Destiny they're a little bit more complicated than in Rising.
It's very difficult to compare Eclipse to a Destiny raid in terms of its complexity and difficulty, and it would have certainly been interesting to see how long the race took had this been a completely blind affair for all teams. Aztecross weighed in on his thoughts about the possible length of the raid, and I'm interested to hear whether you guys agree with him or whether you think the race would have been longer or shorter.
I would imagine that yesterday's raid would have taken a lot longer. Had it been a completely fresh raid, no one had ever seen it, no one done the mechanics, it would have been everyone's first time. Les, how many hours do you think it would have taken? First, think about it, like no one knows mechanics, a completely new raid. I think it would have taken maybe, 4 or 5 hours.
I was gonna say 4 or 5 hours, yeah. I was gonna say 4 or 5 hours.
I think it would have been like 4 or 5 hours. And keep in mind, chat, people are gonna make comparisons between this raid and like Salvation's Edge, Desert Perpetual. The real comparison here should be between this raid and Vault of Glass. And I'm talking like Vault of Glass Destiny 1.
I don't think it's fair to compare a raid that comes out in 2025 to a raid that came out in 2014. I think it is fair to compare Destiny Rising 2025 raids to other 2025 raids. And when you do that and you have the 1 hour clear time with a 3 encounter raid, there is some criticism that should be given. I think that a lot of us right now, we're reeling from the negativity that exists in Destiny 2, and we don't necessarily want to carry all of that over immediately into Destiny Rising because it's a whole new game, and we don't necessarily want to drag those devs into all the drama and bullshit that we've been dealing with Bungie for the last 11 years. But there is room for criticism of Destiny Rising's raid. A 1 hour clear time is pretty damn fast, I mean, if everyone was roasting Root of Nightmares because it was done in like 3 hours. So if we're not going to roast this raid for being done in 1 hour, then I think that we're being a little bit hypocritical. And we should also, yes, compare it to other 2025 raids because that's the year that we're in right now. And even though it's a mobile game, people are comparing it. It's played on PC and people are comparing it to Destiny 2. And it should hold up to some degree. Like it shouldn't just be completely, if it doesn't hold up at all, if it doesn't have any value compared to Destiny 2, then no one would play it. But people are playing it and people are having fun playing it. And I think it's okay to criticize some of the things that it does poorly. Like Destiny Rising doesn't do everything right. It does a lot of things right. And I definitely think that Bungie should take notes from Destiny Rising. But to say that Destiny Rising is just like this perfect game and everyone should play this, it's the best version of Destiny, way better than Destiny 2. It's like, guys, we're a little bit angry at Bungie right now, more so than we are actually looking at the raid itself. If Bungie dropped a 3 encounter raid that was this raid right here, people would be pissed. People would be like, that's a dungeon, right? A 3 encounter raid is not a raid, it's a dungeon. people would be angry. You know, we're just letting Destiny Rising kind of build itself up a little bit, though. We're giving them time, you know, the devs time. We're building this game up, and we're looking at it. We're trying to be fair, give it a chance. And I think that it deserves a chance. And I think that there's a lot of good things that are happening from Destiny Rising.
Enough, the world's first team in the APAC region would be a team very well known in Destiny 2 lore, Team Parabellum, winners of the 19-hour Salvation's Edge Marathon. However, after the dust had settled and the initial hype died down, the impact of the Destiny Rising race and the subsequent problems that would arise for Bungie in Destiny 2 became very apparent. Since its launch, comparisons between Destiny Rising and Destiny 2 have inevitably been rife, with the inclusion of features in NetEase's game that really should be in Bungie's game being the most common subject of discussion, with things like emphasis on clans, pinging, story campaign, fishing, rewarding your time, and really focusing on just giving you a unique experience and satisfying a lot of fans, just being a few of the things off the top of my head.
This game is way too good to be on your phone. I'll be honest, what the heck? They make phone games like this? Why the hell do I have a PC?
However, Bungie have always had the raid race ace up their sleeve, with really no experience in gaming holding a candle to the spectacle and hype that a world's first race brings. And this has pretty much always provided a get out of jail free card, at times where Destiny 2 was even struggling. However, in just a few days' time, we are going to see that truly threatened for possibly the first time ever. The release of the new epic raid and the race that comes along with it is truly no different from the event that just happened in Destiny Rising, boiling down to a revised, harder version of a previously released content, and therefore the most direct comparison we have ever seen between mobile and traditional Destiny experiences. However, Bungie is already on the back foot. The rewards and incentive NetEase offered are simply greater. There are no animated emblems on offer for the epic raid. There's no unique titles. There's not a unique weapon for each encounter. There's no unique shaders or ghost shells for high-ranking teams. There's no instant live leaderboard. There's no scrolling pop-up announcements of the winner, and there's most certainly not a 3-day speedrun competition after the top 5 have been placed. I'm not going to be reactionary and pretend that the Eclipse mechanics are the greatest in the world. They are decent, but they certainly wouldn't stand out in the history of Destiny raid mechanics. However, most importantly for NetEase, the mechanics are simply good enough to not be a negative talking point of the overall event, and this is a feeling that seems to be felt by even the hardened Destiny raiders and creators.
Like, I'm actually pretty impressed. Like, at a certain point, it like doesn't feel like it's actually a mobile game, which is pretty impressive. Like, once you're in there for long enough, you kind of forget that you're playing a mobile game, which is like, I mean, that's a pretty big testament to how quality of a game it is, you know?
Destiny Rising has obvious limitations being a mobile game. It's never going to look as good or play as smoothly as Destiny 2, but it seems NetEase realize this, and they're trying to push their game as far as possible with the abilities that they do have by adding fan favorite or quality of life features that just make the community feel listened to, which is especially warming at a time where many feel the opposite is happening in Destiny. The only real small counter argument against the Destiny Rising success that supports Bungie is the simple fact that it's a company quite literally 30 times more valuable than Bungie, with an estimated worth of over $95 billion. And while that without a doubt plays a role in the speed on Destiny Rising success, I'm not sure that simple fact alone solves all of Bungie's problems, as on the surface at least, many of the features...
I mean, to give you a good comparison, Warframe has a dev team a third the size of Bungie, but a lot of people really support and enjoy Warframe, so I don't know that more money necessarily guarantees the game's better, but, you know, it can't hurt, right?
In Destiny Rising don't seem like overly big ass to have in Destiny 2, and instead just prime examples of a little effort in the right place going a long way for community sentiment. While slightly pessimistic, it's currently hard to see Epic just being a rewarding of hard or prestige. There's even a chance it could be a quick shootout with a slightly altered Desert Perpetual, with contest mode to beef up enemies. In this scenario, it's easy to then ask the question of what actually made the Epic raid a better, more enjoyable, more rewarding event than a Destiny mobile raid. Sure, the gunplay feels and looks nicer, but is this enough to unanimously set it apart? That is a scary question to ask when raid races have been Bungie's ace in the hole for so long. Hopefully I'm wrong and the epic raid is the refresh that prestige and hard mode raids really needed. But whatever the case, I'll be tracking the entire race and the future of Destiny races live on Raid Zone.
All right, there it is. That was Raid Racing Just Changed Forever. an opinion piece from Evan F, and I strongly agree with this. I feel like Bungie and Destiny 2 could really learn from the things that NetEase has implemented into their raid races. And I hope they do, because I feel like it would really help, especially with the community sentiment. A lot of people are playing Destiny Rising, and even though it is a gacha game, it's a full free-to-play game. People are not as uninterested in giving their support and spending money in the game, because the game is offering them entertainment, and they have like, they're building that goodwill from the player base. So a great video from him. I agree with his opinions in large, and we're going to see what happens with the new raid race that comes out this Saturday and see how it stacks up against what Destiny Rising is doing. It'll be a really interesting point of conversation, that's for sure.